A3.
Hello, hashtag Verse TV family, and welcome. It's week 251. It's the 251st week, but it's A number 3. And I'm Aaron Mack, aka A. I'm kidding. Well, whatever. Y'all know. Anyway, I'm Aaron Mack, and we can go ahead and get started with let's do the random question, which is coming up, and I'm going to give it two presses for the two and the number 251. And the two is if you had 30 seconds to share one if the most important thing you've won, if 30 things to share one if the most important things you've learned with the world, what would it be? You know what? Okay, I do have an answer for that. And I it came to mind because of I think it's a song by the Beatles, if not the Beatles group, then John Lennon more specifically. And the song is Let It Be. Oh my gosh. Because it's like, teach the words of wisdom, let it be. And I've been thinking about that. And it's like, yeah, you know, they're fine over there. Those people are, and we're actually going to talk about this a little bit today, but that's not why it was on my mind specifically. But teach the words of wisdom. Let it be. 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 Okay? So you and I connect so much to gay stuff, but it's because I am what I am. So anyway, but it's like those that have a specific problem with same gender loving people and same gender loving weddings or future husband, yes, and stuff like that. It's like, let it be. If it's not hurting you, it's harming me because I don't want my children to see it because that might make them be something they're not. No, that's not how that works. Anyway, but yeah, let it be, let it be. That's the most valuable thing that I'll say that'll be my answer to that question as far as most valuable things. Now, as for the song, my song this week is coming from 2015's song We by Jeremiah. And I I enjoy that song a lot. I do. This really takes me back because a friend of mine, a lesbian friend of mine, had a podcast with her best friend, and it was an exceptional podcast. I would love listening to it, and I would listen to it every. I could be really routine based at times, so, and I had gotten into the habit of every Friday after work, I would catch the bus downtown. Now, technically, this is when I lived in Mount Vernon, and we'll get to that as well. But I caught the bus down the street to downtown, basically, right? And I would walk over to Chick-fil-A and eat Chick-fil-A. And while at some point in that trip, I would always, and I think it would be after I sat down to eat, I would sit down to eat. I would turn on my podcast and I would listen to that podcast and I would love it. And on that podcast, I remember they actually covered this particular song. Well, my friend was talking to her co-host, a friend of hers, and my friend was like, "Yeah, Jeremiah, you know?" And she's like, I don't know him." And my friend was like, "Yes, you do. He sings that song, Birthday Sex." And she's like, "I don't know him. I'm sorry." And then she was like, "He sings that song, We." And she was like, "Oh, yes, he is excellent." And I love the song We. It's say there's a we without you and we. And it's actually really a clever song to the extent that he's saying we, and it's like we as in W-E. No, the song is entitled O-U-I, which is French. How you say we. And the chorus is there's no we without you and I. That's actually pretty clever. It is. Anyway, but yes, it is that time to show appreciation to everyone who has checked out hashtag Verse TV, everybody in the hashtag Verse TV family around the globe. So thank you. Yes. Okay. Somebody I follow was talking about a vocal fry. And it's like, I don't think I do the vocal fry thing, but I remember when I was a kid in Middletown, New York, I used to always make statements like a valley girl. And I remember one time my grandmother was like, "Aaron, why do you do that thing where you go up as if you're asking a question, but you're making a statement?" I was like, "I don't know what you mean because I'm not making a question. I'm making a statement." And it was like, and I had to grow out of that anyway. But yes, so as far as the thank yous, because yeah, I would do that, but not the vocal fry thing. Anyway, I was a total valley boy. Anyway, but yes, United States of America, thank you. Thank you. Belgium, thank you. Germany, thank you. United Kingdom, thank you. Canada, thank you. Brazil, thank you. Qatar, thank you. Colombia, thank you. Pakistan, thank you. Mexico, thank you. And Honduras, thank you. And I'll say this, as far as Pakistan and when I said Mexico, I attempt to pronounce in the way that a native would say the name of the place, but I don't know the natives of every place. I just know somebody I follow on Instagram. He is Pakistani, and when he talks about Pakistan, he's like Pakistan. I'm like, okay, so Pakistan. Anyway, but yes, so that's the fun there. Oh, you know what? It is time. No, we did the question, we did the song, we did thank you. So it is time to move up to the next question, which is topic A. Are you ready for topic A? Hashtag Verse TV family. I'm not sure why it looks so low, but I guess the camera needs to be adjusted or whatever. Whatever. That's what vocal fry is. I was like, oh, is that? I didn't know. And the guy who did the video, he was like, I sometimes do vocal fry, but what this person is doing is just being anti-woman. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. He's like, because it's not that it's a awful thing like you're saying, it's just a thing. I don't even really know how to do it anyway, but I did used to always make statements as questions. Anyway, so, and that's not topic A, like, share, subscribe, and share again. And please do not forget to click like. Thank you. Okay.
Hashtag marginalized pride. Upworthy.com. Hashtag VerseTV A3A. Upworthy. Gay couple was fined for hanging a pride flag, so they responded in the best way possible. They responded by taking down the original flag and replacing it with a larger one on a proper flagpole that adhered to the HOA's regulations. By Vanny Carr, February 23rd, 2024. Editor's note. This article was originally published on March 10th, 2023. It has since been updated. We strive to make the world a better place where everyone, irrespective of their sexuality, gender, occupation, or race, is allowed to express themselves. However, one cannot ignore the incidence of homophobia and the bigotry faced by the queer and trans community around the world. Jared DeLuca, a realtor in Arizona, was also one of the victims of this bigotry when he was fined by the Homeowners Association for displaying a pride flag outside his home. However, instead of backing down, DeLuca took down the original flag and replaced it with a much bigger one on a proper flagpole that adhered to all of the HOA's regulations. In a TikTok video, DeLuca and his husband, Tim, can be seen erecting the flagpole and hoisting the rainbow-colored flag, all while taking jabs at the HOA for their discrimination. The text inlay reads, "The HOA fined us for how our pride flag was hung, but no, we didn't take it down. We just went bigger." They added, "And yes, the flagpole adheres to the design guidelines, so find this." The couple is seen constructing a regulation flag pole and installing it themselves. The video also shows the couple raising an American flag and a bigger pride flag than the one they had previously hung on their yard wall. The new flag is not only larger, but also more visible to the neighborhood. According to the DeLucas, the HOA targeted them for minor violations that they believe were really about their sexuality. Article continued below.
All right. So, first, I will say they are trailblazers, and thank you. Thank you very much. Because this is proof of the fact that there are still trails that need to be blazed. Thank you. So, thank you, trailblazers. Thank you for putting up with that ridiculousness from your homeowners association that you pay because all residents of the neighborhood, not residents, all homeowners at a neighborhood must pay the homeowners association. So, yeah, because I've looked on Zillow before, and I know that's just factored in your cost. So, your homeowners association, I understand you're less than happy response for them because, yes, that's ridiculous. Anyway, oh gosh. Again, trailblazers, thank you. And yes, there are trails that still need to be blazed. So, I will also say George Carlin, a comedian, I feel like it marginalizes him to call him a comedian or minimizes the outstanding work that he speaks for. But I don't think that I could say activist with his comedy. It's like, I don't know. But George Carlin did say that, speaking of flags in general, this was before the pride flag was really popular. But speaking of flags in general, he was like, symbols, flags are just symbols, and symbols are for the symbol minded. And I just let them have that. And to that, I say, George Carlin, I see what you're saying. I get your point. And in a perfect world, we would all be welcoming and affirming of each other, not needing any flags or any representation of anything that puts us in a specific group. It's kind of like the people who complain about LGBT has so many letters, LGBTQIAP, etc. Yes. And that's because it's not a perfect world. So we don't all currently, we're working on it. We don't all currently welcome each other with open arms. Oh, I come to you with open. That's where that Mariah Carey sang that song on her Music Box album. And I seem to remember seeing a video of her actually singing it recently. So it's like Mariah Carey really does still have her voice. But I think that was Music Box. Maybe it was Fantasy. I think it was Music Box though. And yes, until we're all welcoming and affirming each other, there will be flags and there will be need for flags and people to represent the different parts of the group, because there might be somebody out there who is learning to be comfortable with themselves. And a group that could really stand for getting some sort of representation, the feminine to lightly feminine heterosexual men, because people don't seem to accept that. Like, and I know I've explained this time and time again, so I won't do it again and again. But kind of like heterosexual women can be feminine or masculine or whatever. Homosexual men can be feminine or masculine or whatever. All homosexual women can be masculine or feminine or whatever. Heterosexual men cannot. They can only be one thing. So I think that's a group as well that needs fair representation. And as far as flags are concerned, I remember when I lived in Mount Vernon in Baltimore City, and Mount Vernon, aka the neighborhood of Baltimore. I remember I lived on St. Paul Street, and the apartment across the street from me hung a gay pride flag in their window. And I remember I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so at home. I feel so comfortable being here with my people, and flags can evoke that sense of community in people. And I'm not going to lie. Yeah, because I did feel comforted in that neighborhood. I go into that next. So I did think, like, what would it be like if I hung a gay pride flag outside of my porch or whatever it's called. I don't. I mix up porch and patio. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But hang a gay pride flag outside of my outside piece of thing, and I was like, you know what? But I know pretty confidently that here, here, the leasing office would probably demand that I take it like so much that they'd probably even scream upstairs from downstairs, like, you take that off your porch, ho, and run upstairs and bang, 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 take that down. So at the end of the day, though, that's not necessarily shade to the apartment, because it's my understanding. It is my understanding that, interestingly enough, my apartment community, and that's part of the reason that I'm so comfortable here. But it's my understanding that here there are a lot of family members in the apartment building. But that kind of just might be true for life in general, because the Kinsey scale said most people are somewhere in the middle to varying degrees. But anyway, that. Yes, family, we are not yet where we need to be, but progress is being made slowly. 2 steps forward, 1.9 steps back. So ultimately we're making more progress than backups, but 2 steps forward, 1.9 steps back. Yeah. That's what it is. I had to give you all a little Paul Abdul. Anyway, yes. Oh, and I also have to throw in this song. And I am making good, like, I'm super early. Anyway, but this was my last piece of the song. Piece of burger. Anyway, but they say it's a hopeless fight, but I say I've got to try and change it. That's Michael McDonald's song, and Michael McDonald is one of my favorite male singers, period. and that's his song, I Gotta Try. And they say it's they say it's a hopeless five, but I say I've got to try. You know, I what made me sort of chuckle a little bit as I was singing that was I started to feel my emotions well up inside of me while I was singing that, because it's like, and as that was happening, I was like, once again, hashtag first TV is making me cry. Y'all don't make me cry, but I can be an emotional person. Sorry. Anyway, but yeah, when Michael McDonald says, they say it's a hopeless fight, but I say I've got to try. Me and hashtag Verse TV. They say it's in more ways than one. They say it's a hopeless fight, but I say I've got to try. Yes. Check that song out, people. If you don't know, chances are you know two steps forward, two steps back, we come together, opposites attract by Paula Abdul. But if you don't know that song, I've Got to Try by Michael McDonald, check it out. And chances are you also know We by Jeremiah. I think there's a greater chance that you would know Opposites Attract by Paula Abdul. So if you don't know We by Jeremiah, OUI, check that out as well. Anyway, they say it's a hopeless fight, but I say I've got to try. Ooh, I think I'm going to have to listen to that song after the show today. Okay. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, share again, and please do not forget to click like. And here we go.
Hashtag for future husband, heart, hashtag exes at tonight's conversation, hashtag Verse TV A3B. Text. How would you feel if your significant other stayed in contact with an ex?
Ooh, how would I feel if my significant other, the man who I'm doing this with in mind, yes, how would I feel? Okay, baby, I trust you. And also an interest, and I go into this. Also, I will say that most of my long-term friends over my lifespan in the life, I guess, I don't know, but most of my long-term friends over my life, because I was about to share some other horrible, sad, unfortunate truths about myself. But most of my friends at some point I dated at least like once, and then we like turned around and were like, let's be friends. And that was the significance of, because for whatever reason, I was kind of uncomfortable sharing that part of myself with somebody who was heterosexual identified. And I was like, I don't know if I can, because what I see on TV says that most heterosexuals are uncomfortable with homosexuals and such and the like and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, and that's how I developed my connection with the first non-family member, hetero person, hetero man who I told about that. Like, and that's who I'm referring to when I speak of my heterosexual best friend, because he is. And I remember when I came out to him, I was really concerned. I was like, I don't know how he's going to respond to this. And me being in that, because yes, I was renting the basement in a shared house, and we were all millennials though. So it was cool. It was cool. And I was like, if I tell him this, and he's like, I hate F words and I don't, whatever, I don't know. So, but eventually it might come out because I do date guys and I do bring dudes to the house, but and that was in my post prude days. But i.e., like right now I'm in my post prude days because I was a prude all the way up until I met the man that I thought I was going to marry. And it didn't happen. So now I'm sort of in trying to find my way. Not find my way. Honestly, because I will share this because I have so much time. I think. Yeah, I think. Yeah. No, I don't have so much time. But I will share this. I remember when I first broke up with the dude that I thought I was going to marry. I was like, and I was holding on to all of this for him and not having sex because I thought that I would save it for the man that I am going to marry, and it didn't work out with him. So I guess at this point, I'm not gotta just, but I might as well just be like everybody else and all my friends who are having all of this sex with any and everyone, and I need to just throw it around and just be sexually promiscuous boy. Anyway, but yeah, Nelly Furtado and Timbaland. But yeah, and just be promiscuous and enjoy life. But I spoke with a friend, yeah, and he was like, you know what, Aaron, what you don't want to do, you don't want to go out here and be like, I've got to be free and just explore and have all this sex now in my mid 30s because it didn't work out with him, and end up getting something that you can't return. So that sobered me, and I was like, you know what? I don't need to do a bunch of stuff, but I will. And honestly, I don't think I've done much of anything. Very precious little. I'm saving myself for my him, my future husband. Thank you. Yes. So just so you'll know, it's going to be fresh for you. Anyway, and I'm totally not somebody who's like, you need to save yourself sexually because that's what makes it so much better. I think you need to do what's right for you. And I think that you need to not let anybody else tell you what's right for you. If you're somebody who wants to hold on to it, hold on to it. If you're somebody who wants to give it up, be safe and acknowledge what might be going on, what might happen. But give it up safely is what I'll say. Be safe. And sometimes abstinence is the best way to be safe. But yeah. And, you know, to answer the actual question, different people. Oh, let me finish this about him though, my hetero best friend. So I told him that I was gay, and I was all like, "Oh my gosh, she's gonna like hate me and think that I need to not live here and blah blah blah, and tell me to get out and blah blah blah." But he was just totally cool. He was like, "Okay," and he said his sister is gay. And that's a part of the benefit of people coming out of the closet, because that is what's helping people to realize, oh, it's not just some made up thing on TV. It's some real thing that real people deal with, and not deal with it's a real thing that real people are and experience. And that's the benefit of people coming out at the right time. At the right time. If you're a kid and you know your parents are going to kick you out when you come out, now is not the right time. At the right time. Just like sex, the right time for you. Don't let anybody drag you out or tell you you need to do whatever, because man, we live our own lives, y'all. We do. And yes. So, uh, mutual trust and honesty is paramount as far as how do I feel about you being in touch with an ex, being in touch with an ex. You can be in touch with an ex. I trust you. Yeah, baby, I trust you. Uh-huh. That was almost like a bit of vocal fry. I trust you. Anyway, but that was really just because my throat was dry. But yeah, baby, I trust you. I do. I love you. I do. Okay. And for anybody who has a problem with that, okay. And that wasn't a high five. That was a shut up. Okay. I squished you out. Anyway, but I will say, yeah, some people communicating with an ex, they might be doing it for the sake of cheating. Sometimes. Yes. Sometimes it's not the case. It's kind of like adopting a shelter cat, in that you never know the personality that you're going to get. For example, my adopted shelter cat, and I love my baby girl, she talks a lot. A lot. Just like in the movie Mommy Dearest, when Joan Crawford complaining about Christina Darling, who tried to negotiate what not having to eat dinner, and Joan Joan Crawford, Faye Dunaway, played by Faye Dunaway, was like, she negotiates everything like a gosh darn Hollywood lawyer. And that's how I feel about my muffin, because she talks so much. She negotiates everything like a gosh darn Hollywood lawyer. If she's gonna jump on the counters, she talks about it before doing it. If she's gonna jump down, she talks about it before doing it. When she's gonna go to a different room, she talks about it before doing it. When she comes into a room, she talks about it before. It's like, oh my gosh, she negotiates everything like a gosh darn Hollywood lawyer. And, but yeah, mutual trust and honesty is paramount. So, like, share, subscribe. Oh, please. Oh my gosh. My finger just randomly clicked the end button, and I was like, no, please don't do that. And I was able to be steady enough to click the X to please don't do that. So we're all still here. Good. Like, share, subscribe, click like again, and please don't forget to share again. I know I mixed that up. Anyway.
Hashtag underrated hype TV A3. Angela Bofill, all she wants is love at underrated hype TV. Hashtag verse TV A3C.
This song, so beautiful. And this song was actually from 1996. And to put things into context, Angela Bofill herself was in her early 40s when she did this song. And I love this song, and I first fell in love with it in my early 30s. And for me, like powerful lines within the song that were like so powerful for me is like when she said, there was, I don't have to sing it, but I guess maybe they say sing is healthy. But she said there was a time when she was radiant, but time waits for no one. And at 30, I really felt that, and my journey to self love is real. It's real, y'all. I've I've had quite a journey, and I did feel that. And what's so interesting about it is I did feel like, well, I guess I was radiant, but not now. But the truth is, when I was that age, I didn't even think I was radiant back then, but I guess just in connecting with the song, I felt like there was a time that I was radiant, but not anymore because was, you know? Another line that I love is when she sings, ooh, and it's another one that requires the deep breath because she sings, I don't have to sing it, but somewhere along she lost her innocence. Just when, hashtag verse TV, stop it. Stop it. You stop it. But somewhere along she lost her innocence. Just when she begun. Just when she'd begun. And I see, and this was like back in the day when they still, before everything was like totally exclusively beat driven. And I don't hate on beat driven stuff because I make beats myself. The intro music for hashtag First TV is a beat that I made, but I love the live instruments and how different songs had like different musicians come in and play these instruments. And on that line where she says, somewhere along she lost her innocence just when she'd begun, the keys play just when she, wait, somewhere along she lost her innocence, just when she'd begun. Doo-doo-doo. And I just love that chord, and it's just so poignant with the lyrics. I somewhere around there, and it was just wow. Somewhere along she'd lost her innocence. Just where she'd begun, and I think about my first time that I engaged. And I remember I was one of those people who they I saw this one stupid article, meme, or whatever that was like people who lost their virginity in their teens up to 17 are normal. People who lost their virginity from 18 to 19, you're kind of questionable. People who lost their virginity from 19 to 20, something like that were the ages, but whatever. Me losing my virginity at 19, I was in the group of, according to that, people, it's like, kind of questionable, kind of problematic. But as far as my first time being the summer that I went home for freshman, after freshman year in college, I met a dude on collegeclub.com and we, yeah, hit it off or something. And I was like, yeah. I told him that I'd never had sex before. And he's like, you've never had sex before? And you're talking to me about sex on a collegeclub.com? Sure thing. Right. Okay. Well, come on over, baby. And I was like, okay. And I remember I sitting on, stop, sitting on his bed. I was so nervous and I had my hands in my lap and I was like tense and everything. And he was like, wow, this really is your first time having sex. And I was like, yeah. He's like, okay. And he was good. And when I say he was good, I mean he was a nice person. He was kind and such. And that was cool, you know? Good. Yeah. So yeah, yes. Okay, right. He was a cool dude. He wasn't horrible. He was an alpha. And I remember I was like, I have an interest in alpha. He's like, okay, cool. Suck this dick. And yeah, there was a time when somewhere along, she lost her innocence just when she'd begun. It's like that was the loss of my innocence right there. And I remember I used to love the animated series Dr. Katz. And I remember one of the comedians that were on Dr. Katz's couch for the show. He was like, yeah, I remember the first time I had sex. I kept the receipt. And I would always connect to that. I'd be like, yeah, I didn't get a receipt, but I could playfully say that we met online, and that was back in the day before online was in vogue as it is now, like back when it was particularly shameful. And yes, but I also think about in terms of somewhere along she lost her innocence just where it began. Women who, like one of the women I went to high school with, who was pregnant in high school, you know? And it's like, I get it, it can feel like somewhere along she lost her innocence just when she'd begun. And it's like, yeah, yes. Now the chorus is, all she wants is love. It's all she's dreaming of, waiting for that someone. She, she's all alone. Basically, she's saying all she wants is love, waiting for that someone. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank, but whatever. Y'all get it. But yeah, all she wants is love. And my connection to that line is even all the way through my so called thought days or sexual exploration days, I was just looking for love in all the wrong bedrooms. Huh. I don't want to blame him, but because back in the day, like your first sexual experience was supposed to be with like somebody you went to school with or something like that, somebody you were crushing on, not somebody you met on collegeclub.com and was like, and we're like, hey, hey, I remember I was so nervous when I went over there. Anyway, and okay, so as far as that chord, I was off with it. And there was a time when she was beautiful. Da-da-da. That's where the chord is. No, actually, no. There was a time when she was radiant. Da-da-da. So yeah, technically it was the first part. But there was a time when she was radiant. Da-da-da. That chord is so excellent. Oh my gosh, perfect placement. And when she was young and free and beautiful, I stop making me emotional hashtag verse TV because I connected with that as well. And that was particularly when I was like, yeah, in my 30s, my early 30s, I was like, yeah, there was a time that I was young and free and maybe beautiful, but, and the world was at my hands. But deep inside, she's still so beautiful. She just can't understand. All she wants is love. It's all she's dreaming of. Stop it, hashtag verse TB. You stop. Stop. Okay. But yeah. Yeah. And I'd say, well, maybe the younger me was young and free and beautiful, but I was definitely young and free. I don't know about beautiful. My self love journey has been quite a journey, you all. So, yes, it is real. My self love road is real. And in the bridge, and that's why I played so much of the song, although I think I'll continue to. It's kind of like radio show style. But she said, knowing love, knowing love just can't be too far away. Knowing love can't be too far. Knowing love can't be too far. Love is only where you are. And yeah, there are people who say you have to learn how to love yourself first before you can love someone else. This is what I think about that. And I've seen people combat that, like mental health professionals, like, no, you don't have to love yourself before you can love somebody else, because be loved by somebody else, because babies are able to be loved by others and they don't know anything about self-love when they're babies. So you can as an adult too. But, and this is my conclusion on this, and I didn't even write it down because I just thought about it. But an importance of loving yourself before going out there into the world of dating is sometimes people don't want what's best for you. They know how to disguise what you want and pretend to be that thing. And then next thing you know, you're in a horrible connection with them. But because you didn't love yourself first, they just take all sorts of advantage of you. And even some people to the point of physical violence. And because you didn't love yourself first, you are stuck in that position because you're like, you don't think you can do better. Now, when it comes to relationships and working things out, yes, that is important. And just because you have an argument doesn't mean you need to be like, I need to move on to somebody better than for me. No, you can work things out. But, and I have told my future husband this quite a bit to the point that he is like, I understand, please. But I'm like, put your hands on me once because I had to do this in one relationship. Put your hands on me once, and that's the end of us. The end of it. I don't care how far we've grown, how far, whatever. That ends it all. That shows me that you didn't really love me in the first place. So maybe the moral of this song is love and enjoy yourself and don't give up on love and love yourself enough to not be abused. All right, hashtag Verse TV family. This has been week 100. Nope, it's been week 251. I'm Aaron Mack. This is week 251, A3. And I think the way it'll be, it's A3, week 251 of hashtag Verse TV. Talk to you all later, social media family. Peace. Hashtag VerseTV.com. Stay blessed.